As soon as we get your offer accepted on your new home, it is game time, baby. It is time to go. We are now battling the clock in order to make sure that you are hitting all the specified terms that you put in your purchase contract and hit those timelines perfectly so that there is nothing that comes up and jeopardizes your deal in securing your new home. My name is Alex Stoeber, and in this video, we are going to go over the top 3 things that you need to know about the escrow process and making it as seamless as possible for you. Let's get into it. Before we start talking about those top 3 things, what you should know is that the seller, once they sign that contract, cannot unilaterally just cancel a deal on you. So if someone comes in $1 million higher than your offer, it happens, then you don't have to worry that the seller is just going to cancel your deal and then go and sell it to the next highest bidder, right? So what you should know is that they can make it more difficult for you to close the deal or to get what you want because now they have higher leverage when they have a backup offer in place. So keep that in mind as we're going through these top 3 things and the timelines for what you should know about this escrow process. If you do miss one of these points, one of these pieces of timeline, one of these contingencies, then what you should know is that the seller can go through a process of pretty much giving you a notice to perform and then a demand to close. And that forces you to either speed up your timeline or even close right away. And if you don't, then they can go to their backup buyer. But we want to keep your leverage as high as possible and keep you on track in order to make sure that you hit these goals. And let's start with number 1. The first thing that you should know about your timeline in escrow is your earnest money deposit. Your EMD is a 3% deposit that goes to the escrow officer, the middleman in this situation. You can think of them as the referee in this game. I'm the coach, you're the player, and you're about to dominate. And what you should know is that the EMD goes to the escrow officer and is held until the end of the deal, and that is part of your down payment that is paid to your lender in order to close, and then your lender, if you're doing all cash, then that's just going to go straight to the seller. But then it does act as part of your down payment. And it also acts as like your skin in the game for the seller to know that you're not putting out 5 different offers on 5 different properties and just choosing the one that you like the most or that you're getting, right? So what this means is that you have 3% in escrow. If you remove a contingency, for example, in number 2, the second thing that you should know about an escrow process is that you have contingency timelines. You have inspections that you need to do on your property. And those inspections, the review of disclosures, the review of the preliminary title report, all have to be done in a certain time frame. Typically, this is 17 days after the offer is accepted. So you have 3 days to put the EMD in escrow after the offer is accepted. And then standard is 17 days after the offer is accepted to do all of your investigations. So if you do all of your investigations in 17 days, you remove all your contingencies except for your loan and your appraisal, for example, then you cancel the deal after that because of an inspection issue, then you actually have your EMD, your earnest money deposit, is in jeopardy at that point, and the seller can pursue you to keep that because of potential damages that happen in the deal. Now, from your inspections, you need to get your inspections scheduled right away. The top 3 inspections are your general inspection, your sewer lateral inspection, and your pest inspection. You don't know how long these inspections are going to take to schedule, but you also don't know how long they're going to take to get a report back. So I would recommend doing those right away in order to stay within that 17-day gap. Also, the sooner you have those inspections scheduled, the sooner you know from the general inspection if there are any repairs that you need to do on the property, if the HVAC system's going out, if you see potential issues with the foundation. Those are all expensive things that can come up. The general inspector will tell you typically within a range how old the roof is. These are all costs that you have to factor in when you're buying a home, and you want to get that general inspection report back as soon as possible so you can go get invoices and then potentially ask the seller to repair certain parts of the property if you think that it could potentially jeopardize the deal. Now, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get them to sign off on a request for repair to do different things to the property if they have $1 million higher backup offer, right? So you have to keep in mind what leverage you have while you're going through a transaction and play your cards correctly. The other thing that needs to happen right away, the third part, the major part of escrow, is the appraisal. The appraisal needs to be ordered right away by the lender, or if you're not doing a loan, then this shouldn't be as much of an issue. But if you are getting a loan, you need an appraisal ordered right away because appraisers are swamped in a market like this, and they also take about a week, maybe a week and a half in order to get their report out. The standard timeline for an appraisal is about 17 days. Yes, you can expedite this in order to make your offer or your escrow period more competitive, but I would still recommend getting it done right away and get that appraiser out there, because if they need to appeal, if you need to appeal because the value comes in lower, then that is all something you need to do within that period that you chose in order to close. And then finally, you really need to make sure that within your contingency period, you get your loan approved. So loan approval typically takes 21 days in most markets. And then between loan approval, 21 days, and your 30-day standard escrow closing, you have all the funding, all the paperwork. It takes a while to do documents. Like your lender and your escrow officer aren't working on the weekends. And you also can't record on a weekend because the county office isn't going to be open. So you need to make sure that you manage all of these. You want to manage your earnest money deposit, 3%, getting wired or given a check in order to make sure that that deposit's in within the first 3 days. Within the first 17 days, you need to make sure that you've reviewed all the disclosures, you know everything the seller knows about the property, and you also know what is on the title report, if there are any liens against the property, and do all of your inspections within 17 days. And then you also need to make sure that your appraisal is done so that the value of the property is confirmed and you're not overpaying for a property, or even if you have to appeal it, then you need to know that within the first 17 days. And you also need loan approval within the first 21 days so that you can close that deal and move on in. These are all things to keep in mind, and I know it can sound like a lot, but this is what realtors do. This is what we specialize in, is project management and making sure that all these timelines are hit on time for you so that we can help you have the most seamless transition in your life as possible. Congratulations on your next chapter. You got your offer accepted, you got your escrow done, and it's almost time for you to move into your new home. Congrats. Thank you once again for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, if you got some value out of it, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications for future videos. Thank you so much, and I'm out.